Alright, what's going on YouTube? PyroTakun bring you a new what the fuck video called Pokemon Black and White 2 What the Fuck, or whatever I call it. Anyways, this video is directed at Nintendo, Pokemon Company, Game Freak. Okay, now, first off, let's go ahead and get into the details of Pokemon Black and White 2. They're direct sequels to Pokemon Black and White, and we're getting 2 sequels instead of 1. In the past, we had Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, Silver, Crystal, Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, but now we're getting Black and White, then Black and White 2. Now this has me interested. This is very interesting, having 2 sequels instead of 1, and instead of a Pokemon Gray version, we're getting Black and White 2, and direct sequels, I guess, to the stories of Black and White, which is pretty cool because Black and White had good story. So that's the cool part. We do know that we're getting new forms of Kyurem. We're getting a form of Kyurem mixed with Reshiram, a form of Kyurem mixed with Zekrom, and it makes sense because if you look into like the descriptions of the some of the legendary Pokemon in there, it says that, or if you look into the legends they have lying around in Black and White, it says that at one point there were 1 Pokemon, so it makes sense. And some people are saying that these are new Pokemon entirely instead of new forms. Either way, I don't care. Either way, it doesn't make a difference to me. Now, other than the pictures of the new Kyurem forms, what we have is, we don't have too much to go on, just a couple details. And all we really know, other than what I mentioned, is that they're coming, the 2 games, Black and White 2, are coming to Japan later this year on the DS. Not the 3DS, but the DS. And one can only think to themselves, what the fuck? Why are these not on the 3DS? Why are we still making Pokemon games on the DS and not the 3DS? Let's take a look here. Let's take a look at the Pokemon franchise on the DS. Actually, no, let's go all the way back. Let's go all the way back. This is just the main franchise, by the way, not counting spin-off games. So here, let's go back to the Game Boy days. We have Red, Blue, Yellow. If you live in Japan, or if you want to count green version, fine. So, green and red, and then blue version, then yellow version. And then that was the Game Boy. And then we had Gold and Silver. Gold and Silver were compatible with the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color. And then we had Crystal. So, Crystal version, I think, was Game Boy Color only. I could be wrong. But either way, between the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color, we have 6 to 7. Again, I'm counting green version here. So 6 to 7 main Pokemon games. That eclipses 2 generations. Alright, so let's take a look at the next Nintendo handheld where we saw Pokemon, which was Game Boy Advance, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, Fire Red, Leaf Green. 5. Now, let's take a look at the DS. Let's take a look at how many Pokemon games are on the DS. We have Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Black, White, Black 2 and White 2. 9? 9? 9 games? From the main franchise. Don't even get me started on the spin-offs. It's ridiculous. 9 games from the main franchise on the DS. Let's take a look at how many games from the main franchise are on the 3DS. None. 0. Nothing. We got no main Pokemon games on the 3DS. You know what we have on 3DS as far as Pokemon goes? We have a crappy okay, not a crappy app, but we have a Pokedex app on the 3DS that only has the new Pokemon, so that's about like a fraction of the actual complete Pokedex. And then we have Pokemon Rumble Blast. Really? Really? Now I know you guys are going to give me several reasons why we're not seeing main Pokemon games on the 3DS. You guys are going to be like, oh, well, there's not enough 3DS units out there. And I'm going to tell you, bullshit. Nintendo moved about 16 million 3DS units since it launched within like less than a year. We're about to come up on the year mark. So 16 million units. Really? Really? You guys might tell me, oh, it takes time to develop a new engine for a video game. And as true as that may be, Black and White came out last year, and we're getting sequels this year, a year later. We're getting sequels for a Pokemon game? Are you fucking serious? Do you know how much content is in a Pokemon game? Do you know how much time it takes to truly complete a Pokemon game? For fucking ever. For fucking ever. So guess what? Black and White came out last year, and the year before that, we had Heart Gold and Soul Silver. So this is becoming a yearly franchise. So don't try to sit there, oh, it takes time to develop a new engine. When they have time. They have time to develop a new engine. They have time to space out the games in the fucking series, okay? They really do. You guys can be like, oh, well, they didn't have the 3DS long enough to make games for it. No, that would be the dumbest fucking excuse you could give me. Because remember back when we had those 3DS rumors about who had development kits and who didn't? And all developers said that Nintendo was treating the Pokemon company very specially. That they were giving special treatment with the 3DS development kits. Are you serious? So don't try to sit there and tell me, oh, well, they didn't have enough time to develop a new Pokemon game for the 3DS. They had plenty of fucking time. They had special treatment for development kits. And all you give us is a Pokemon app with a fraction of the Pokemon, a Pokedex app with a fraction of the Pokemon, and then you give us Pokemon Rumble Blast when all you did was copy and paste the shit from the Pokemon Rumble on the Wii and just like threw in some more Pokemon. That was it. Are you... What? What? Are you serious? Are you serious? And the last reason you could give me, the last excuse you can give me, and I don't even want to hear it, because we all know it's not true. Because we all know it's not true. The only other thing you can tell me is, oh, well, the Pokemon company, they need more money, so they have to crank out the games faster. That would be the dumbest fucking thing you could tell me. And you and I both know that's not true. You and I both know that's not true. There's only two reasons. Only two reasons, and they go hand in hand actually. There's only two reasons why you could tell me that they're making main Pokemon games on the DS and not the 3DS. And let me tell you those two reasons. One is to be lazy about it. Because like you said, like you guys are thinking, it does take time to develop a new engine. So guess what? Copy, paste, old engine, tweak it around a little bit, even if they tweak it around at all. All they're going to do is just add a couple things to it, and then sell it. And that goes into the second reason, like the market, money. Because if they make it for a DS, there's already about 150 million DSs out there. There's already a handful of 3DSs out there. All the 3DSs are backwards compatible. So they're just trying to push it to a bigger market. So that's it. Just laziness and money. That's all this is about. That's all it's about. They didn't even have to make sequels this early. They didn't even have to make sequels at all, to be honest. Because Black and White came out last year. They were very well received. My favorite Pokemon games since Gold and Silver. These games were really good, had good story. Some of the new designs were retarded, but some were completely awesome. And now, 1 year later, you're creating sequels for that game on the DS, when I already gave you guys basically the list of the main Pokemon games on the DS. Nine main Pokemon games on the DS. 0 on 3DS, despite the fact that there's enough hardware out there to justify putting Pokemon games on the 3DS, despite the fact that they had enough time to develop main Pokemon games on the 3DS. And just this, we all know they have the money to do it, despite the fact that they had time to create a new engine, because, again, Black and White came out last year. Just last year. There was no need to rush these games out at all. And I don't even know. It's just mind-boggling. Because the fans, we want a Pokemon game on the 3DS. That's what we want. We want the main Pokemon games to come to 3DS. Because 3DS is new hardware. You can do different things with it. You can expand the franchise on the 3DS. Because on the DS, it's peaked. Don't try to sit there and pretend it hasn't. It's with Black and White, it has peaked on the DS. At this point, they really can't add too much to a Pokemon DS game. They can't really add too much to it. They can't really push the franchise forward on the DS anymore. It's hit its maximum capacity on the DS. If you put it on 3DS, there's so many things you can do with it. There's so many things you can do to push the franchise fucking forward. So many things. Could you imagine if you street pass with a random fucking person and their team and your team information exchanged and it had their playstyle and it had your playstyle and you was fucking playing the dude just by street passing and shit? Could you imagine that shit? Could you imagine getting all sorts of like random like elite fucking trainers through, you know, fucking Spot Pass every damn day? Like with Mario Kart, with Spot Pass, you get new ghost trials every day. Could you imagine if Pokemon, you gotta fight like real people, real teams of like crazy ass people every damn day? Just those two things alone would be enough to justify it. They're gonna be started on how they could revamp the engine to have the Pokemon handheld games look more like, you know, Pokemon Coliseum or what was it, Battle Revolution. They could easily make it look like that. They could easily do a lot of things to push the series forward on the 3DS, but they refuse to. They just want to keep it on the DS because it's a bigger market, because they can push out more games and they know it's going to sell. That's the sad part. We all know it's going to sell millions and millions of copies, Black and White 2, on the DS because it's Pokemon and everybody loves Pokemon. It's saddening because Pokemon fans want it on 3DS, and all we got, despite the fact that the Pokemon Company had special treatment with 3DS development kits, all they gave us was the finger, a Pokédex app that was just subpar, and they gave us Pokemon Rumble Blast. You know, they didn't even have to make those games. No one asked for those games. No one really wanted them. You know, what they could have done, they could have just incorporated that Pokédex app into the main series. If they brought Black and White 2 over to 3DS, they could have had that Pokédex in there with all the Pokemon. All the Pokemon. They could have done that, and like I said, done the Street Pass, the Spot Pass, and a whole bunch of other crazy shit if they brought it over to 3DS. But no, they refuse to do that. They refuse to do that. And as a Pokemon fan, this is very upsetting. It's very sad. I'm PyroTakun. I think I'm done with this right here. Now, remember, before you guys get mad at me and post your comments and video responses, which I encourage, by the way, just remember, I'm just some guy on the internet. PyroTakun. I'm done.
Yeah, he's not gonna wake up for that.